Okay, I'm speaking today with Philip Dwyer, citizen journalist extraordinaire based out of Tala in Dublin. Philip, how you doing?
Good, Rick. Great to chat to you again. Thanks for inviting me on.
No, not a problem. I suppose the real reason behind it is there's a mega protest or a rally for Ireland being held in Cork on Saturday. That's sort of being organised, I believe, by Derek Bly, but should attract a lot of people from across Ireland down to that one in much the same way as the big protest in Dublin at the end of April did as well. Want to talk to you a little bit about that. Suppose we could kick off there. You will be there, I would imagine, on Saturday. I hope to be going down as well if it can secure transport because I'm coming from right up at the northeast part of the country. So if I could get down to that, I'm going to be down at it. But what can we expect from that, or what do you know about that in terms of the format and the expected crowd?
Well, I mean, from what I'm hearing and the people, word on the street or around the campfire, let's call it, is it is going to be a big one. I always try to err on the side of a bit of pessimism with these things. People say they go and then they don't go. But the atmosphere that's around the country at the moment, I think, yes, it is going to be a very big one. Cork needs it too. Cork has been traditionally the rebel county. The city of Cork was devastated back by the Black and Tans back in the early 20s, when there was a bit of, let's say, rebellion going on. And yeah, they suffered and they were made. Yeah, the houses were burnt down, and there's a big kind of rebellious tradition in Cork. So yeah, it's needed down there, and hopefully, please God, people will turn up. I mean, Dublin was the kind of the benchmark now, that's telling us that people are fed up with what's going on in the country, Rick, and they're growing more courage. They're not being influenced now by mainstream media as much, and um, they're listening to other influencers outside of the mainstream, and it looks like the message is getting out. People like yourself, myself, Derek, Ferg Power, the Irish Inquiry, lots of newcomers there as well. Michael McCarthy, Derek Domino, putting out good content there that is giving common sense to people. So, yeah, yeah, please God, I mean, I'll be there live streaming. It's starting at 2 o'clock in the Grand Parade in Cork City, on Saturday, and it's going to be peaceful. We're not going to be, as I said, Derek said last night on a live stream that I did with him on Facebook and my Twitter. It's going to be peaceful. We're not going to be provoked by any left wing lunatics that go down there. We'll show them up for what they are. And please God, yeah, we'll all have a great day and celebrate being Irish and call out the madness that's going on in the country right now. And as we just spoke earlier, it's like the madness is just continuing on a daily basis. The mass immigration issue with crime and everything else. It's just constant. The lad that was stabbed in on the Keys there in Algeria there, just when was it, last Monday?
Monday.
Uh, it was like it's just non-stop, constant, and stabbed by an Algerian as well, allegedly, who's on charges for that now, asylum seekers. So yeah, people, and another one as well was this guy, this Roma gypsy lad, who went online and started telling everyone he was going to start slicing up Irish women and Irish babies and how he hated us and everything else. And I think that got very viral, and I think that's helped to wake up a lot of ordinary Irish people who probably don't see what's going on through the mainstream media and stuff. So, yeah, definitely it's going to be a big one. And I urge anybody listening to go down, try and make it your business to get there. And you'll feel good after. As you said, we've met now on protests now, Rick,
Mhm.
and you actually feel very good after leaving one of those protests. You feel like you're actually doing something worthwhile. You feel like you're after making a contribution to help the situation that your country's going through. So, yeah, I'd urge everyone to give it a go and head down.
Well, there's the poster, Philip, that's on the screen at the minute. So, as you can see, anyone that's watching this now, National Protest for Ireland assembling at Grand Parade, Cork City, this Saturday coming, which is the 7th of June at 2 p.m. There's a little banner under that saying Ireland says no. So keep me right here. Once the assembly happens at 2 p.m., I believe there will be a march after that until like a rallying point where there will be speakers and there will be a professional PA system. Would that be right? Is that the general format that the march will have?
Yeah, I don't think the list of speakers now has been formally revealed yet, but I mean, you can guarantee it that there will be some very good speakers down there.
Mhm.
And yes, there will definitely be a top end PA system. Unfortunately, it didn't go too well regarding the PA in the Dublin Assembly that time at the Custom House. They didn't realise they were going to get so many people. But as I said, that's that end of it, please God, now is going to be covered. There'll be a bit of music. There'll be a bit of celebration about what the people have gathering together. There'll be lots of flags, please God, thanks to the likes of remind me of his name.
Did
The guy
Andy
producing the flag, Andy Quirk. Yeah,
O'Quirk?
sorry, Andy will kill me. He'll kill me for not remembering his name. But Andy Quirk supplying flags, thousands of flags of people. It makes a huge difference. And yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a special one. It's going to be the biggest thing Cork has ever seen as regards the pushback against the regime, in my opinion. So let's hope.
Do you think really the Dublin event on the 26th of April really was a like a touch paper for this happening? Because almost I do think it exceeded everybody's expectations. It was an incredible day. The numbers were insane, impossible to ignore. And as you rightly pointed out there, the sound system on the day wasn't adequate. I don't think that's because necessarily people were underprepared. They just didn't expect that amount of people to turn up on that day. It was just unbelievable. So once people saw that optic of the 50 to 100,000 people walking down O'Connell Street peacefully, all walks of life, men, women, children, babies in prams, people in wheelchairs, elderly, you name it, in complete peace. It
Mhm.
dispelled a lot of myths that it's an extremist gathering. It was going to be troublesome. It's too dangerous to turn up to, and of course everyone is responsible for their own personal safety. But I think it burst a lot of bubbles, Philip, and I also think a lot of people were paying attention from other parts of Ireland and said, well, we need that where we are, which is what's happening in Cork. And then there's been calls for, Galway has been underrepresented when it comes to things like this, or parts of the west of Ireland. What I'm trying to say is, I think it's momentum. Something started in April, and I think the momentum has picked up. And what we could find is a very transformative summer if everything goes according to plan.
Yeah, please God. And you could see from the Dublin marches, and 99.9% of all of these protests against the mass immigration coming into the country have been highly dignified and respectful, and far away from the labeling of the mongrel label that Mr. Micheál Martin
Yeah,
has put on the Irish people. You know, how insulting and how disrespectful, how disgraceful it is for your Taoiseach to your Prime Minister to label his own people in such a way when it comes to who we are as a people. So we're always well able to show how dignified and respectful and peaceful we are. Not harmless now, peaceful.
yeah.
And there will come a time, I suppose, in down the road, and we all hope that it never happens, but they will push people too far. And this is a common thing in history. When they do push people too far, bad things happen. None of us want to see that. We're all trying to prevent all of that. But as I said, it's a joy to behold. It kind of reminds you back in the day of the 90s. You're old enough to remember the
Hmm.
90s and Ireland, Italia 90, Euro 88,
Hmm.
America 94. When people went out in the streets, we had an amazing atmosphere. The fans traveled abroad and they always had respect for whatever country they were in. They always knew how to enjoy themselves. And it's a similar kind of atmosphere at these gatherings. That's the way it should be. And under no circumstances allow ourselves to be provoked into doing anything that the left or the media or the government want us to do.
Speaking of the left, the media, and the government, and you touched on it there with the comments that Micheál had came out with to do with labelling effectively, Irish people as mongrels. Insane. He was challenged on that. He had made statements, a few years ago, but they've been pulled up again. He was asked did he want to change his position on it. And he said, no, not really. An RTE have been commissioned to make, a news series or a documentary series, and they're enlisting gone mean Irish actors. I think Colin Farrell's been enlisted in this one too to push this. To push this.
Mhm.
Has there ever been a time in Ireland's history? And I saw some guy commenting the other day, And people were saying back in the 60s and 70s, you didn't have to lock your doors in Ireland, for example. You could, and this Ireland hating lefty came out with, well, back then there was a Great Depression, everybody was broke, there was a housing crisis, so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. Has there ever been a period in Ireland's history where the Irish people, certain Irish people, have hated on themselves and their own country so much, spearheaded, arguably at the minute, by Tshock, Micheál Martin, effectively labelling Irish people as mongrels, dogs, half-breed dogs?
Not that I can recall, I mean, en masse, the population hating on themselves, but there is a thing with Ireland, unfortunately, is that we have had our fair share of gone beans and traitors,
Mm,
and we still have them today. They're just, they're on the gravy train, they're financial, and they're doing it through a psychological war. They believe that they're not doing anything wrong, probably in their own heads. The ones at the very top don't. They know what they're doing, and it's all a well-engineered plan. But to my knowledge, I cannot recall such disdain, public disdain for their own people from the elites, the political classes, or whatever you want to call them. And we've always had, we've always had an influx of people coming into this country for thousands of years,
hmm
but it was always minute. It wasn't transformative. It wasn't like they brought in three or 400,000 in 5 years or
hmm
4 years. That's transformative immigration, and that's going to absolutely demographically change the country. We used to get Vikings coming in, we used to get Normans coming in, but they came in a couple of thousand, maybe, and they integrated with society. And as that gobshite Micheál Martin says, they became more Irish than the Irish, so
Yeah,
they integrated.
yeah.
Now we don't have people coming into the country, have no intention of integrating. We're building mosques for them. We're enabling them to take over our culture. He's absolutely deluded. These people, I mean. I hope they understand that when the time comes and people and justice prevails, is returned to this country, these people will be up on charges,
hmm
and they will be locked up. As far as if I have any way, and a lot of people are calling for bringing back the death penalty for treason, but it's like this is something that has to happen. We have to be able to get into a position where we restore justice and common sense to Ireland, and put these people and make them accountable, put them in front of tribunals, or juries of their peers. So yeah, it's phenomenal, it's unbelievable. But of course, what do you expect from RTE? I mean, they've been sponsored by up to €750 million by the government to shout out their narrative. So yeah, what do you expect from them? The Irish Times, the same.
hmm I think this part of this, for example, this program that they're making or they're assembling at the minute, and the publicity that that's getting, I think the government realizes they're in danger of losing. They're in danger of public opinion really and truly switching against them, as can be seen by the amount of people taking to the streets at the minute. And you said as well about a comment Martin had came out with, that Ireland not just accepted these people in, but they made them more Irish than the Irish. How's that possible? How can you be made more Irish than an Irish person? Is that not another slur almost, to say the people that came in over the years have become more Irish than the indigenous Irish population? What a mad comment to come out and say as the Taoiseach.
Yeah, well, in reality, that's impossible, I suppose, for that to happen. But what they're trying to say is that at least they attempted to integrate. They married into the Irish people. They took off over our customs. They kind of learned the language, the Gaelic language, and stuff like that. And I think there was a kind of a group of people, even English, that were non-monarchists or whatever, who came over, and they adapted, and they actually fought on the Irish side, like I think with Brian Boru and people like that. We're going way back now to 1000 AD or whatever. But it's like, absolutely nobody, you can't, if you're not Irish, you can't just become Irish, but you can try to assimilate or whatever, and you can keep that to a minimum. And the amount of people that did come in back out through the ages was minimal, not this mass influx of a demographic change that's been foisted upon us. Absolutely not. It is an invasion, and it is a plantation, as our old friend Padder Tobin doesn't like to use the term of aim to. But it is a definitely, if you can't see that now at this stage, anybody who can't, they're not on our side. That's all I can say.
They're not. And something else that's happening tomorrow, actually. Today is actually Thursday. This is recorded on Thursday, but I'll probably put this out tomorrow morning. So if you're listening to this, it's probably going to be Friday morning. But there's another protest being held down at Croak Park. And you talk about Irishness, and when you think about Ireland, you probably think about Dublin. And when you think about Dublin, you think about Croak Park, you think about the GAA, Irish, Irish, Irish. Well, there's a protest being held outside of Croak Park in Dublin tomorrow, the home of the GAA, something that's very close to your own heart in connection with the use of that particular facility for Eid celebrations. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's going ahead tomorrow morning at around 9:30. Now, the Great Fair Power has decided we're going to organise a protest there for 9 o'clock to express our disgust at what the GAA are doing. The GAA in Ireland, Gaelic Athletic Association in Ireland, was set up as a counter revolutionary, against British rule to help promote Irish Gaelic games, Gaelic culture. And through COVID, they were allowed have this Eid festival, this Muslim festival, while Christians weren't allowed to go to church and celebrate mass. So that's another story, let's call it. But now it's continuing on. The GAA have sold their souls basically to the devil now. Anybody with money or whatever. I don't know how much they're getting for this. I don't know whether it's collusion with NGOs and government as well. But it's definitely that managing director of the GAA now. His name is Tom Ryan, and sadly, he is a member of my former hurling club. My father played for Fogs GAA club in Temple Oak. The Fogs are around since 1885, I think. I'll be clobbered for that if you want. And they're one of the oldest hurling clubs in the country. And he played for Kilkenny as well. He played in front of 80,000 people in that stadium. And I know for a fact that he would be turning in his grave to see now what the GAA have become. And it was always a kind of a Christian organization as well. It was all intermingled,
Hmm.
Rick. And it's like to have this and to rub people's noses in it as well. I mean, and then if we want to go into the Islamic thing, you can do your own small bit of research on this and what Islam stands for and how toxic it is as far as I'm concerned. It's an ideology. There's stuff going on down in the Clonskeagh Mosque there where they had to close it. And there's an organization called the Muslim Brotherhood that are active in this country. The Muslim Brotherhood are a banned organization in a lot of Arab countries. In Saudi Arabia and other Arab countries, I think there's about 7 Arab countries that are, Egypt, they're banned for suspected terrorism. Okay, so they're even banned in Arabic countries, this organization, and there they are rubbing shoulders with the GAA and politicians in this country, and they're in here to take over. They're not here to oh let's show you how wonderful people we are. These people are in here to take over the Western civilization, and it's documented. You can get the documents on this. Back in 1991, the Muslim Brotherhood produced a document on their document policy and how they are going to infiltrate Western civilization by literally moving people over here, and that's what's going on now. And Crow Park now has obviously taken the money. They've taken the soup, let's call it,
Yeah.
the 30 pieces of silver, or whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it. And here we are, and we'll have Mary Lou McDonald going in there with her hijab or whatever on and telling us. And of course, all she's looking for is votes here, the demographics again. That's all. It's demographics. Couldn't care less about Islam or Muslim people in general.
Has anyone, just a question, I don't know the answer to this, maybe you do, but has any spokespeople or a spokesperson or spokeswoman for the GAA ever been confronted about this or the direction that they're taking, or do they not give interviews, or have they been evasive on it? I've never seen any. I've never seen anyone being put on the spot from the GAA and questioned about the stuff that you're talking about. Is there any that you know of, or have they just been keeping a low profile when it comes to this business?
Good question, Rick. The answer is to me, no. And if they do interviews, they're kind of staged interviews on RTE, and the questions are all pre-planned and pre-organized or whatever. And they're talking about maybe finances and how many concerts it's going to have during the year and, the general camogie, skirts or shorts, this kind of stuff. But I've been outside Croak Park and a few times live streaming between the job centres that they facilitated. They had recently had a jobs fair for migrants only.
Yeah.
No Irish need apply. Okay, and that was written in their literature. And I was outside asking to speak to Tom Ryan. Would he come out and talk to me and answer some questions? But knowing full well that they won't. And it's like that. They don't, they're like government TDs or officials or whatever. They only give staged interviews pre-recorded or whatever and pre-recorded questions or whatever. So yeah, you'll never see them. You'll never see them outside and just being put on the spot by media, by mainstream media. I certainly would love to put them on the spot if I come across them. So, but it's a good question. They're not out there for the people to
No.
answer to them. They were always very, as I remember, they were always very kind of hard to get to, even when before any of this started, when I was a young man in the GA playing hurling and football, you never really heard of them much out publicly speaking.
Mhm. Lastly, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but I just saw the headline earlier on this afternoon before I hopped on with you. But Grip have ran a piece that the Guardi and Guardi Síochána were actually recruiting in iPass centres. iPass centres not so long ago. So this is the latest thing that has broke out now as well, which is hard to believe. And for anyone outside of Ireland, these iPass centres are asylum seeker centres, migrant centres, international protection accommodation services. That is where An Garda Síochána, the Irish police, the guardians of the peace, have been at least once, trying to recruit members for their ranks from international protection applicants. I mean, where does this end? Where does this end? Are they going to go into prisons in the Middle East and try to get people to become guards?
Yeah, well, on one aspect of we only saw yesterday an he's allegedly African American on a flight from America landed in Dublin, and he viciously assaulted the Garda.
So that,
We seen in Germany, I think it was an Iraqi Muslim guy, was it last year? A big, tall, 6'5" German police officer was stabbed on camera in the back of the neck by an asylum seeker, one of these people. But in dear old Ireland, we're going around these places trying to recruit these people. It's absolutely insane. And when the guard, Irish police force, I call them, under Drew Harrison, RUC, man, when are the Gardaí going to get sense in this country and understand that what's occurring here is unpoliceable? It can never be policed. It's unpoliceable in Sweden, Belgium, all over the UK. It's these areas will be where we bring in these people are no-go areas, and they are the dregs of the societies that they're coming from. Most of them are probably running from their criminal past because they know they can come to Ireland and throw away their documents and get a new start. And it's just I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. How stupid do you have to be as a Garda to not understand that what's happening is you're one of the people who will suffer the most.
mhm.
Your colleagues will be murdered and beaten and whatever else happens to them, God forbid. But they will be the ones to suffer probably nearly most in society. And they're the people who are seen on a daily basis that the crime, the assaults, the seriousness of the assaults. There was a lady there last year on the canal in it was in Bluebell, and her name was Rachel, and she contacted me. She was accosted by two guys on the canal one morning going to work. She managed to run away and escape. They threatened to kill her. She went to the guards, and the guard said he had a pile of those kind of complaints on his desk. And nothing's been done about them. These lads aren't being apprehended. They're not being removed from the
No.
country. And I'll never understand it. There's no Garda coming to me trying to blow a whistle. There's no Garda coming to you, Rick, or
Nope.
the Irish Inquiry or anyone like that to blow the whistle on the corruption and the mismanagement that's going on within the Irish police. And it's really, really terrifying. It's something like that. They're supposed to be your front line, your protector, the thin blue line, I suppose, between chaos and civil society, and they're throwing it away, the Gardaí, and it's frightening and it's very sad.
And they know about it too. Just in closing, I saw another bit of research that had been done today where freedom of information requests have been requested from IPAS centres to say, can you provide a list of incidents that Guardi have been called out to at various IPAS centres? And some of them have 2 and 3 times a week, threats to kill, violent incidents, assault on each other, assault on staff, abuse towards staff. Unbelievable.
Mhm.
And this is documented, this is logged. So there's no way that guards can say, well, we don't know what's happening, behind closed doors. They know full well. And in terms of whistleblowers, there's only one that I know of that, which is John Wilson, who we've been privileged to talk to and walk
Yeah,
with, places like Carrick Macross and Castle
yeah,
Planey. But that's it. There's not exactly a list of
yeah.
them that you could rhyme off or that I could rhyme off. But keeping it on Saturday, just this is really just to put the word out there about Saturday. Cork, 7th of June, 2 p.m. at Grand Parade in Cork. Should be a big national rally. And again, there's another one, I think, in Dublin then on the 22nd, I think it is, or the
Yeah,
second
it's
Sunday in
22nd, yeah.
June. So that's only another few weeks away. So it's going to be a busy month anyway, Philip. So many thanks to you
Yeah.
for hopping on today and for all the sterling work that you do and continue to do. Check the description box underneath this video. There'll be a link through there to Philip's X or Twitter feed, which is pretty much where you put the majority of your stuff. But that's where you can connect with Philip in the first place.
And thanks to you, Rick, for all your support. I've supported my work and I much appreciated. And you keep up the great work yourself. You're doing great stuff.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best. And of course, if you're listening to this, you like the content, cut and paste the link for this video, dump it into your Facebook groups, your WhatsApp groups, your social media groups, whatever it is that you use. Get the word out there. And if possible, get yourselves down to Cork on Saturday if you are able to do that. But for now, that's Philip Dwyer. I'm Rick Munn. This is No Risk, No Reward Media. Over and out.